Hello, and welcome back to my 5-year plan playthrough of RP-1, where in the last episode we orbited Deimos uh, in a fairly
Kinda.
dangerous orbit, but we did it. Um, and you found a potentially safe orbit of Deimos.
Well, Gratek found it. I found Gratek's message.
Fair. Fair point.
Just don't want to claim credit for something I didn't do.
Yeah. There's the big old potato. Oh, but what's shown... That's interesting. What's shown is the Mekjeb orbital data, not Principia's.
Okay, that's fair.
That's interesting. Um, but it still should be replicable. With a inclination of 164.471. All right, so let's set about making that orbit.
Yeah, in this case, the Mekcheb and Principia data might be close.
Maybe? All right, we now have a somewhat undefined orbit. So our inclinate, all right. Let us correct our inclination, which is the first thing we'll deal with. Okay, so 164.471. Only problem is, I think we have to get to the LAN first. So what is our current LAN? Is 59 degrees.
I don't know that the land matters. It seems like from the picture of the orbit, the land changes a lot.
Yeah, that's fair. What matters is the inclination, probably, and that varies as well.
Yeah, and the orbital altitude and eccentricity. The inclination doesn't look like it varies too much. I mean, the banding on there seems consistent, although there's so many orbits piled on top of each other, it would be hard to tell.
All right, so 164.
I think you're currently too high to match that orbit, too.
Yeah.
Need to wait like an hour to fall. Something ridiculous.
Yep. Okay, so at 4 kilometers. Okay, 4054.
Whatever you're doing is lowering your inclination.
Why did we pick up a roll moment? Okay. And apoapsis 4054. Oops, wrong way.
It's definitely looking better.
3238.
Impressive that you're managing to do this all off of directional thrusters.
Yeah. It's slightly ticklish. That's pretty close.
Yep. See what.
That's pretty much bang on.
Yep.
Yeah, the land is screwed, but everything else is correct.
See what Principia thinks of the future of this orbit.
Yep. Analyze the orbit. Seven days. Let's go up to 70 days.
Yeah, Gratak said it remains stable for 600 days, so.
That looks pretty stable to me. Lowest altitude, 3 kilometers. So thank you, Gratak. This is a good orbit.
And yeah, the land doesn't stay still, but
yeah,
we don't care.
Yeah. Yeah, it claims that 150 days, lowest altitude is still going to be 3 kilometers.
Yep.
So yeah, I think we're okay.
And the SMA is also just staying very still, relatively. 38.
Yeah, inclination is a little higher than what Gratak found. All right, that's cool. Now the real question is going to be, can I orient to the sun without screwing all of this up?
Maybe you should have oriented the sun and then do your... Oh, no, you couldn't have, because it wouldn't have been close to a orthogonal node, probably.
Yeah. All right, so the sun is basically above me. So let's inch up. I think that was a minor enough kick that we're okay. Yes, cool. All right. All right, let's analyze the orbit again and make sure we're still good. No, I don't want 15 days. I want 150. Yeah, looks like we're still okay.
Cool.
38-meter variation in SMA. Seems fine.
Periapsis drops a little lower, but still fine.
Yep. All right, so we are officially sciencing Deimos. This is impossible because of the eccentricity requirement, I believe.
Yeah, what is it? Is it 0.1?
I think it's 0.1.
Yeah.
But I could also land, which I will do after. I'll check on this thing in like 100 days. Well, 110 days. To give all the experiments time to actually finish. All right, and then we can land and do it again, and then we can go over to Phobos.
Yep.
Lucrative little probe.
Do you have a timer for how long you wanted the other Mars probe to remain in its current orbit?
I'm going to check. So something like 70 days. Give it a little slop. All right. Let's look at our knots. So we're in September 66. They're inactive until December. You're inactive until November. Okay, so we can do a 3-person mission training, I guess, with these 3 people. Or just 2 of them. But we're still going to finish the launch vehicle before we finish the training again.
You need more astronauts to cycle.
I need the proficiency trainings to finish.
Yeah.
That's in 50 days. This completes in 5 days, after which point we'll send everybody over to work on this. Which completes at some point.
You did the change to make proficiency or training cost per seat rather than... Cool.
Yep. Yeah, no, my budget would not be looking like this otherwise. Let me tell you. Yeah, remember, like, the astronaut cost with less training was higher. Yeah, their upkeep is low because they haven't actually had orbital training yet. They haven't even had suborbital. That's why they're so cheap. All right, well, I'm not doing any of that, I guess. I now have more science than I know what to do with. I think what I want to do, talk me out of this. I think what I want to do is, I do want to make the change where staged and hydrolox need orbital rocketry of the same node, the same level.
Uh-huh.
And I also want to make the change of much higher efficiency boosts from electronics research. And possibly even make some of these nodes more expensive to soak up later science but not actually increase research times.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, if you're you can certainly do it to get rid of excess science, to exactly what you're talking about, increase the science costs as well as increasing efficiency. The problem you'll run into if you do that, though, and it may not be enough of a problem for you to want to make the change, is that one, you'll see issues where it's very easy to pick up old science, so you won't be really rewarded for going down a path necessarily. Not such a big deal. It's going to be very overweight value to push extra down the electronics tree, because if you're really applying enough of a multiplier to
you're right.
countervail. Yeah.
Yep. It's just going to be objectively correct to research that first every time.
Yeah, or even be like 2 or 3 nodes ahead on it.
Yep.
Even though there's a penalty for research ahead, it may not be enough to countervail just the advantage of going further on it.
Yeah, that's fair.
But I mean, I'm not sure if that's enough of a problem to put you off that track. I still think it might be a reasonable thing to, and this is obviously a chunk more work. Well, you've got there will be a lot of nodes through too, but remove the cost of all science from researching, and then just use science points as their current thing, which is dovetailing out to other points in some fashion, and making all programs have a requirement of at the program level rather than at the contract level.
Yep, collect science.
Yeah, collect science from this
specific environment that the program is doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. Could make some sense. I think I would still want at least a little nominal science cost on nodes.
Sure. I mean, if it's nominal, then it, as you said, it's nominal.
I mean, yeah. Maybe not quite
the downside to that solution that I can see is, well, for instance, you may have further complaints of people saying, well, I could just do the science inside the program toward the end of it rather than all throughout or at the beginning or something. Yeah. Okay, but you are still getting confidence and other rewards for grabbing science. So,
yeah, but again, the confidence is super not important until the end of the program.
Yeah, sure. So we could apply a rep reward or something else.
Yeah.
And I still need to circle back on that leader thing. So maybe from that, we could find another use for science. Although we have problems finding uses for points.
Yeah.
I think that's the big downside, that it would be okay, well, I don't necessarily care until toward the end of the program.
Yeah.
I mean, early science is the place where I think this would be impacted most. But on the other hand, you're not gathering, you're not usually doing I can just send one Mars probe to gather all the Mars science that I really need issue that when you're doing sounding rockets and X-planes, so it may not be as applicable.
I mean, I could have gotten away with sending only one Mars probe in this case.
No. Yes, when you're doing the Mars science, it is an issue. But on the other hand, you only send one group or maybe 2 groups of Mars probes per program. I'm talking about people would have people complain about I could just launch all my sounding rockets at the end of the program at the beginning. Yeah, you could, but you'd be tying up. You wouldn't. Yeah. You would still have to build them early, and
yes.
And if you tried to do that with science, tried to grab all the science with just one sounding rocket, you wouldn't be able to do it because you don't have that much time in Earth orbit with sounding rocket, and you don't have necessarily even that much time over a specific biome to finish all the experiments with one sounding rocket or with one plane.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm rambling. I think maybe just we think about it because I
Yeah,
didn't hear
yeah, I
this.
think we got to think about it.
I'll think about your idea. You can think about mine.
Yep. Yeah, I think you're right about making those nodes too impactful. I mean, there's a bunch of other roads to go down.
Yeah, you could
Just
find other places to grab efficiency that wouldn't be like,
Yep.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of like, I feel like it's a little too anti-speed run to harness the year-based multipliers and just have a year-based multiplier to research efficiency.
Yes.
But
Yeah, I think
that's
making it,
too much.
yeah, I agree.
But going the other direction of like you get a research bonus based on the number of nodes you've unlocked as a snowball. But it's not
Yeah.
necessarily more of a snowball than pushing through electronics to get efficiency boosts.
I'm not as worried about the snowball aspect of that as I would be worried about the samey aspect of that, where like people would feel encouraged to research every low-level node, like we used to way back when you get like a per node.
I mean, if it's proportional to science. I mean,
Yeah.
I guess that is perversely one thing you could do where your research speed is actually proportional to the science you've gained.
That's not a bad idea.
Which is honestly like one of the original ideas I was proposing for a KSP-like game, where not quite the same thing, but basically where gathering science didn't actually let you unlock stuff, it gave you political capital with the research community.
I mean, that's kind of why I imagined science dovetailing into confidence as it is.
Yes.
So yeah,
Yep.
exactly.
Yeah. No, so that makes sense. And then like a more concrete and KSP 1-ish version of that is it is a bit of a boost to your research rate.
Yeah, if it was directly proportional to the cost of a node, then yes, it would fix the concern I had.
Yep. Yeah, I'm not sure whether I actually prefer it being proportional to science researched or proportional to science gathered.
Hmm.
I feel like I kind of prefer it proportional to science gathered. And the reason for that is because when you get a burst of science, that is when you need the increase in researcher efficiency, not after you've researched the nodes that are the problem.
Yeah, the only thing I'd wonder there is if it would be too much of a forced grind to say,
It is somewhat of a forced grind. There's also that then you get a lump boost. Like this Mars mission that I just did effectively gave me 500 science over the course of 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Or
also
more.
wondering if I would even mind that it's a forced grind, because like the thing you really should be doing is trying to get science out of space.
Right.
Like that's the point.
Yeah. Yeah, like I basically I like the model where sending people into orbit gets you credit with the government and getting science gets you credit with the research establishment, and you basically need credit with both of them to advance your programs.
Mm-hmm. What if, as a tweak on that, there was a mechanic where the amount of science that you could gather from an SOI that mattered to this speed boost changed, so that early on, like there's basically a cap. Like I don't need to like hit every biome and get every point doesn't matter.
I mean, I feel like the actual answer to that is just get rid of biomes, and then you effectively have that because it's based on the instruments.
I don't like the idea of getting rid of biomes totally.
Like, I'm fine with keeping landed biomes. I think having biomes when you're in space is really fiddly.
I would only do that if we had something like Scopus operating in every fashion.
I mean,
Because
we have that old like real science prototype, but like honestly, we kind of have that already. Like Kerbalism is halfway there in terms of its experiment requirements.
yeah.
Because like the point is for a lot of these instruments, the thing is like not are you over this piece of ground? There's maybe like 2 instruments in the game where that's relevant, and the rest are what orbit are you in?
Yeah, exactly. Like it should be which orbit are you in, and having a variety of orbits that you need to be in.
Yeah,
And that's why I was thinking of
yeah,
biomes are still useful.
yeah. But I think biomes are just such a poor proxy for that, especially because they do not play nice with high warp.
Sure. Like yeah, I agree then.
Yeah, I would like honestly rather just clone the instruments or have different configurations for the instruments somehow for each of those those orbits,
Hmm.
because that more gets us what we want.
Yeah, this feels like a not quite PLC, but significant level of change to make. But we should probably
Yeah,
write up.
yeah,
I mean, like I should write up and
yes,
post it in the design forum and say, hey, this is why we're thinking of doing it,
yeah.
and like get people's input.
Yep.
But yeah, I like it overall. Like I think that like the science game is not ideal.
Yeah. Okay. Well, given that we wait a
It'd be
while.
fun.
Go
It'd
ahead.
be funny if we managed to write up and make a new updated science mode before KSP2 manages their first one.
Yeah, could happen. So I want to go back and look at, which I haven't for a while, my big boy.
Oh yeah, the
Yes,
super proton.
this is the big version of the big one, which is 7 of these, which by the time we're actually flying it, I guess will probably be in the, for lunar launches, we'll definitely be in this level. And it's, yeah, in locks UDMH. Burn time is still 2 minutes 30. 3352. Let's remove and re-add that. Yeah, so the mixture ratio didn't change between configs. That makes sense. All right. Second stage. Third stage, I feel like we want... I don't know whether we want a real third stage or not. I feel like we might in this configuration. We might not, but we might.
Third stage just to get to LEO.
Yeah.
Like the two engines you're using are really efficient, so yeah, I'm not sure.
Yeah, there isn't the LOX UDMH configuration of the third stage. That sucks. This does have a much higher rated burn time, though. Can't quite see behind that, though. Oh. Yeah, 1967. Okay, so we'll get that. That's fine. But yeah, it really sucks that we don't have access to a LOX UDMH conversion of this, because that would be pretty nice.
Yeah, it would be.
I also wonder whether look at the RD-58 here.
Yeah, I was gonna suggest that, like using the RD-58 for like a.
Yeah, it is okay. 349. Yeah, it's like, do I really want? What do I want for TLI? The problem is what I want for TLI is something between those engines. And certainly with RD-58 level specific impulse.
Yes.
Like, I'm not happy with the 325 that thing was giving me. Oh, that's fun. I forgot to I forgot that I had 7 down here, so I have to change the configuration of the middle one too. Huh. Okay. All right, so for TLI, I claim that I will need 9.25 kmsec, maybe even 9.2 to get to orbit. It is actually plausible that I would want to do this Saturn V style and burn a little bit of this to get to... Yes, because 5 minutes is not actually going to be optimal here. Is this an isogrid tank? Yeah, it's an isogrid tank. Okay, cool. I wonder about when... choose tank type. What do I need? Sorry?
I was going to say, if you're doing some of the burn for orbit and some of it for TLI, you can also get away with the longer RD-58 burn.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Yeah, we can get away with refined gridded, which will also help the delta V a little bit too. Oh, that's interesting. It's including it. Somehow.
I mean, it's including it. No, you've just lost the fuel, and so now it's got a lot more delta V on the lower stage.
Oh yeah, that's why. Right. Okay. So all right, we want to optimize for 3,300. Oh, no, I'm doing this wrong. because this is EOR. I'm doing this. I'm building something for LOR, which I guess is something I could do. Like, honestly.
Yep. But I mean, you could also have an LOR that consists of this and a tanker stage that had less RD-58s on it.
Yeah, so. Yeah, just the RD-58 is just not enough for an EOR, Earth Departure Stage. It's just not. You're gonna need a lot of them.
Yeah, fair.
All right, so we need something like 12,500, maybe a little more. And I feel like 8 minutes is probably going to be about right on that stage. Might even be too much. Where's the thing with the lead? Did I remove the lead from it? I think I removed the lead from it. Oh, no, it still got lead. Okay. That seems about right. We're going to need like about 800 meters per second from... No, I'm sorry, 1800. That's 7. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, about 1,500 out of it. 1450 to 1,500. Also, gonna need to increase the avionics here to cover this. So that, let's try that. Yeah, that barely decreased delta V, so that's fine. All right. Yeah, all up this is not even 900 tons. And let's see how much it's getting to TLI. it is getting 12.2 tons to TLI. So that's pretty good. And the reason why that's pretty good is because that's basically half the total TLI payload we need, which means that this is actually sufficient to do an LR architecture. And if it's good enough for that, it's probably roughly good enough for 2-launch EOR. Might have to stretch it in a few different ways. We'll see. Oh, also, I didn't actually upgrade the config on these because I think if I'm getting later, if I'm getting the Mark IIs already. This needs 67, so let's... That needs 69.
Yeah, I've been looking in the background and to see if there's anything else that you might want to research for, and not really. Like the NK15V is great, but unreliable.
Yeah, that's the thing. All right, so we could go from 4668 to... Wait a minute. How am I doing this wrong? 46.6. That's interesting. Is it lower? What's going on here? 357.9. Rust 1826. Okay, yeah, because our burn time is shorter. So we could stretch the stage some. But I don't think it's actually... I think stretching the stage would put us under our liftoff thrust to weight ratio that we need.
Does the bottom entrance have an upgrade that you haven't?
That's what I did.
You did, yeah.
Yeah, that's where we started. Yeah, okay. So this will definitely do what we need for TLI. Also, this is totally enough to launch a Zon, like an orbital Zon stack. Because we'll need some kind of probably RD58 powered stage that will give us something on the order of 1.3 kmsec, and then we'll use onboard propulsion for the rest.
Cool.
So yeah, this is what we would do if we wanted either EOR or LOR. I guess we could go lower than 1.25, like we could consider upgrading these and stretching this stage, but I think that's marginal. What I really Yeah, what I have doubts about is like what would be involved in doing this EOR. I don't know. I mean, alternative is just to make like a UR700 or something out of all of this.
What would the difference be with the UR700?
That it would be a single launch.
Gotcha.
I mean, I don't think I want to build two different launch complexes, though. Yeah, so what would this look like set for EOR? We'd need a much fatter we'd need some other funky transfer stage.
The R700, the one with like some sort of not asparagus staging, but drop tank system. I misremember.
Yeah, I believe so.
Okay.
Yeah, the R56 was lighter, and therefore like actually plausible to make. All right, so we need roughly double this stage, which means all up will be somewhere on the order of 130 tons. Of which, given that changing total mass doesn't actually change proportions, how much will be fuel out of 130 tons? Sorry, propellant. So we could have 24, we could have 32 tons in one of them. Get rid of the fairings temporarily. Yeah, so 15 tons versus C2. So as it happens, sending up all of the kerosene and, well, I guess no, we do. Yeah, we do this with a minimal amount of locks. So we would have to put, to do a 2-launch LOR mission, we would have to be able to put 70 tons in orbit. Oh no, I'm doing this totally wrong. Never mind. Yeah, I did this wrong. Because we don't actually need this. This is enough stage. Yeah, this is enough stage for finishing the job going to Earth orbit.
Yeah.
And we don't, for EOR, we'll place both of these stages just in orbit.
Yeah, it seems like if you're doing a 2-launch system, because you're not really getting anything out of the LOR, I mean, trying to put retank in LOR versus the Apollo LOR structure. EOR is simpler for you.
Yeah.
One nice thing about the UR700 design, though, is like you could do the third stage then and have the third stage be another RD-254.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like if I'm making a large enough rocket, then
Yeah.
yeah, just like how with the N1, the EDS was a single MK9V.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so what do we need to get this to the moon? With enough extra delta V to rendezvous. Although I guess we would launch with like a tug of some sort. Okay. So, yes, we only need 80 tons. Which, so hilariously enough, as you'd expect from the symmetry of rocket design, 40 tons to low Earth orbit was exactly what Saturn C3, the von Braun's EOR architecture, was going to be doing. So it is not surprising to me that I end up with needing to put 40 tons into orbit.
Yep.
Right, so so let's split into 20-ton halves. Can we split into 20-ton halves? Basically. So yeah, and then the tanker would launch with a full load of LOX and the last bit of RG-1. So we need a little more than 20 tons capacity because we're going to have some wasted mass on having to carry the tank on the tanker and some kind of orbital maneuvering stage. So being at yeah, let's say 22 tons. So we need to get 22 tons. Sorry, we need to get 44 tons because we're doubling everything into orbit. What would it take to get 44 tons into orbit? Let's find out. Oh, call it 43 tons. Because we can probably get around only having 3 extra tons on the other thing. What's the tank's dry? Tank dry mass, okay, less than a ton. Which means if we spend like 2 tons on an orbital maneuvering stage, like a tug, that's probably fine. So yeah, 3 tons total is reasonable. All right, what's it going to take to put 3 tons into, 43 tons into orbit? More than 890 tons of rocket. I can tell you that much. Not much more, though. That's intriguing. Really, he's not going to take that much more.
Drop on boosters.
Yeah, we're like 500 meters per second short. So I think what that means is if we wait until 69 rocketry and then upgrade this, I don't understand that. I genuinely don't understand that. So if you look at what's happening, the mass of the engine is 1.45 tons. The vacuum specific impulse is 357, right?
Mm-hmm.
I switch here. Higher specific impulse, same mass, lower delta V, unless the mixture ratio changed. Let's see if the mixture ratio changed. 5391. Yes, the mixture ratio changed. That's why. Three minutes and 38 seconds. Let's extend this out up to the 350. But we're still, yeah, that only gained us like 50 meters per second. That didn't really do much. So we just need a larger launch vehicle, I guess. Or, as you say, some kind of booster system.
Yeah, just strap on some RD-107s.
That's not going to do very much. I mean, we could pay the mother of all tooling fees and make this isogrid. That might get us to delta V, actually. It probably only get us like 300 meters per second, but go a long way towards it.
I mean, you could also do the lower stage too, but that doesn't give you very much at all.
Oh no, I was assuming that because they share the same diameter, so I was just going to tool them both of the same tank type, for sure. Well, we could try overburning it a little, see what happens there. I think we're hitting marginal returns here. Yep, pretty much. All right, the distribution of delta V. That's 358. What is it on the first stage? Whoop. It's underground.
Yeah, I think you'd want to enhance the first stage. The first stage engines are pretty good, but your WR isn't the greatest, and also, yeah, a lot of the delta V is coming from your second stage.
Yeah, I was more thinking about the distribution of delta V. Yeah. 341. All right, so yeah, we want a fairly even spread of delta V, actually. Which means we, I guess, are doing the proton thing of, or UR700 thing of having like outer engines and tanks. How wide is that? 3.5 meters. Okay, and let's go with one of these slanted noses. Okay, that looks somewhat derpy, but not super derpy. That looks derpier. Yeah, that's probably the best of the bad lot. At least we can scale that some. One of the shrouds. Yeah, that looks about right. Okay. Hey, what the heck? There should be a bottom node here. Yes, there is. Okay. What the heck? That's extremely weird. Nothing's throwing. Let's try only one of them. That worked. Okay, so now we have 11 of these engines. Whoops, no, that's 5 of them. Why did I just do that? Okay. Not enough. You know, Mr. Bond. So this stage needs to get stretched for sure. Although, the thing about that is that there's no reason why we can't just stretch the core. Also, our thrust-to-weight ratio is kind of nuts now. Like, genuinely kind of nuts.
Yep.
Man, I wish I could burn these engines longer.
Yeah, for sure.
Two minutes and 9 seconds on the last config. That's kind of nuts. I mean, maybe the tested burn time is sufficient that I can just overburn them a lot. Like, what if we went up to 245, which is my preferred first stage duration? Probably fine, right? Okay. I want to make these longer and the other thing shorter. It would be extremely nice if we could just snap to a height. Like, remember a height for the bottom and then go there.
Yeah, it would be.
That, I mean, actually, it's probably a fairly trivial plugin to write now I think about it. All right, that's more reasonable. We have tons of delta V now, at least. And we bloated to 1,300 tons. Really, we kind of only need 2 of these. $1,300 tons is kind of a lot. Let's see if... I think I checked this already, but... Rated burn time 129 seconds? What the heck? What is that used on? Tooltip's hidden. Oh well. Yeah, so none of these have a higher burn time.
Could try researching out to 1972 and get the NK43s.
Yeah, but even they don't have the best reliability.
Not that bad.
The weird thing now, which CMAF was going to correct, I think, was, and hasn't yet, was NK33 having worse reliability than NK15. Which is just, I mean, historically is correct that there's more data on NK15, but I think in practice is just wrong.
Doesn't have worse reliability than the NK15. The NK43 doesn't have worse reliability.
Oh, the 43 may not. But the 33 does versus the base 15. Yeah, maybe.
Yes, that's true.
AK-43 might be an answer there, but just like, man. Oh, no, I know what the...
1969, so if you're going to go that far.
Well, 71 I think needs a MATSI node.
It does.
Yeah, I mean, we could stick with 67 and not lose that much, I think. Like, we're at 98.53. Yeah, so 70 meters per second. And our liftoff thrust weight ratio went even higher. Oh, this is one thing I can do, though. Is I can get rid of that center engine. If we're doing it this way. And have 10 engines instead of 11. That will help a little.
Is there much of a difference between the gimbal and no gimbal on those?
I didn't know there was a distinction on the 253s.
I thought you changed the center engine to something else.
I don't think so. Maybe I did. I don't think so.
Okay, maybe I'm misremembering that.
Yeah, there's the stuff used on the second stage of Proton. That's the thing where, or yes, these things. This is a gimballess version with 4 verniers, and this one or this one, I forget which, is the one that gimbals. That's 4 of which are on the second stage. Oh, what if we... Here's a thought. What if we went down to 4 of these?
Seems like your liftoff TWR is too low then.
Yeah, but we can go ahead and put one back in the center. And we're still doing a thing where we're going to have a bad split between these stages now. Like, I feel like the actual solution would have been to add a 3rd stage. That is the Soviet solution. But yeah, now we just look like Saturn 1's big brother.
I don't hate this setup. It doesn't look too bad.
Yeah.
It's a shame we don't have engines that burn longer.
Yep.
I think I do prefer the American campaigns in terms of just having more variety of solutions for a particular problem between hydrolocks and solids.
Yeah. Well, I mean, but they kind of make up for it by not actually having variety in for stage engines.
Yeah.
I mean, sort of. It's just the size variety, really.
You don't have that much variety in first stage engines if you want something reasonably reliable and efficient. Not until, I mean, K-33's become a thing, then you have an option, or RD-270, but that's significantly later.
All right. Oh, heh. Great. After all that, we've got to shrink these. And stretch this. Yeah, I feel like this is actually a case where I might consider doing the whole thing as isogrid, which is going to be stupid expensive, but I kind of want the little extra oomph of performance. Okay, what did we end up as? We ended up as 1072. Not unreasonable, all things considered. I do feel like this would look better, UR700 style, with more of these outer things than a thinner core. But
yeah, but your second stage can't really be that much thinner.
I mean, it can. It'll just be a tall rocket.
I thought really the engine bells are as squished as they can be.
Oh, yes, you're right. It can't be any thinner. You are absolutely correct.
I guess you could do the R7 thing and have it bulge out there.
Yeah. Yeah, okay, so this is going to be pretty hot off the pad. And we also need better avionics, which is going to definitely have an impact. Let's give it some breathing room. 1100 is 949. 987. Yeah, this is just a few kilograms here and there. Might change the cost though, but I don't think it makes that big a difference. And then we won't have to, if we stretch, we won't have to make changes. That gives us 400 tons of stretch. (9207). However, I'm reasonably sure that we can make orbit on 9207 in 2 stages.
Especially with a liftoff thrust of 1.3.
Yeah, that's where I was going. Man, I haven't used these in so long. I've been MLP all the way.
Well, they are kind of ugly, to be honest. I'm glad you have
I mean, they were amazing back in the day. It's just the state of the art has definitely increased.
I mean, their stock levels are prettiness, so I don't, yeah. Not that I really care that much, but compared to MLP, that's
Yeah.
I'm gonna try a full sim of this.
Yeah. And then go to bed.
Cool. Where to see it?
Yeah, I want to see how it works. Give it a guess with PVG.
Especially with the short payload section, it looks like a very like a squad R7 right now.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, no, Mr. Bond, you're right that this did end up looking a bit more like Proton by the end. Just a weird semi-Proton. That's so weird that that flag decal is Z fighting.
Yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, we want to go to like 32 degrees because we'll probably want that for a lunar launch window anyway, and also because that'll make the EOR rendezvous better.
Yeah.
Although it's not such a big deal because we now have PVG doglegging, so we'll be fine.
Also, I figured out like if you're just trying to do an hour and a half off launch, you don't actually need to go that high of an inclination.
Yeah. Well, let's see what we get with this, because this is going to be a little bit of a worst case scenario.
Yep. I think your pitch rate's going to have to be higher. That's for sure.
PVG doesn't think we can make it. That's
Oh.
interesting. That's not what I expected.
Same.
Given the performance of this launch vehicle. Yeah, pitch should be... Yeah, I guess 38 and...
Your time to orbit is really
62.
low, so maybe that's one reason that PVG is thinking you're going to have trouble.
I mean, we can go to 180, but our time to orbit isn't that low. Right? Like it's...
6.5 minutes?
Yeah?
Yeah. Okay, well, fire it up, let's
Yeah,
see.
let's see. Let's look at 180 and see what the difference is. That gets us 40 meters per second. 150, what does that get us? That gets us a big bump. Yeah, right. Maybe we have to go to 160. 699. Yeah, that costs almost nothing to go up to 32 degrees.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm super weirded out by why it's expensive like that, but we'll see. See whether I believe it or not. I gotta turn the flag decal off that tank. It's pissing me off.
Yep. Agreed.
Yeah, conformal decals flags are working fine, but that one's messed up.
I think the camera knows on, so we can't see it.
Fair.
Or just for these, I mean. You can still see it. But...
think I'm over pitching, maybe.
Oh, okay. Thought with that much oomph off the pad, you would be okay. But,
Yeah, would have thought so, but yeah, we overpitched. Yeah, we're gonna hit closed loop at max Q. Not great. Oh, that's intriguing. The error, the PVG error is so much less. It was really only about 350 meters per second when I'm used to it being off by like 600 to 700. So yeah, we're going to be fine.
So higher TWR off the pad?
No, my R7s have been that high.
Your R7s are lower, aren't they?
No, they're usually 1.4.
Okay.
I mean, the latest ones, the ones that have the RDO 107 are down to 1.3, but earlier on they were 1.4. Either with no upper stage or the RDO 105. Yeah, this is a spicy ascent. We might actually flip out.
Yep.
Nope. Came close, but no. Yeah, look at how high we're having to burn.
Yeah, because you're going to have to pitch down hard, too, at the end.
Yep. Alright, well that's interesting.
I should redo it with a better pitch program.
Yeah. Yeah, I want to see what that's like. Against my better judgment, I'm just reverting to launch.
Okay, good luck.
Skips at least one scene transition, though. Alright, so I've set those. Let's see if that's better. Oh, now it's claiming 800. That's bonkers. Why was it I'm confused. You know what? Let's see what we get going to 200 kilometers. Well, we'll do 180 just to see how that goes. Because I think 700 is usually PVG's estimation failure. Oh, no, I know why. I know why that is. A lot of that's nozzle losses, and we have lower nozzle losses because these are high chamber pressure stage combustion engines.
Okay. Yeah.
That all makes sense. So, yeah. So, yeah, we probably could make it to 200 kilometers, actually. No, Mr. Bond, you're right. I should have gone back to the VAB to fix the flag decal. Yeah, I want to see what 200 kilometers is like. I think I actually want 5 now, going to 200. Let's see. I also wonder about yeah, I wonder about using, like, making it look a little more proton-like by having more of those side tanks and shortening the center tank some and making the side tanks more angled, which will in the end lead to about the same amount of okay, it looks like I've nailed my ever so slightly underlofted. Alright, by about a degree. That's not bad. Interesting that it's still underlofted.
Yes.
And we still have 200 meters per second spare. Amazing what the difference in ascent profile did. So yeah, I'm not sure why. I guess it is. I guess it mostly is from the nozzle loss change. That we're just not taking the nozzle losses we would on those RD107s and RD108s. That's definitely some of it.
So how many side pods are you thinking of having?
Proton 6.
Okay.
I mean, 8 would be correct with a center engine, but actually 8 would fit correctly on this thing. But I'm just not sure that
might be like interesting. You'd have to have a conical adapter up at the top, right?
Huh?
I guess I'm picturing a very narrow stem for the center engine with a reversed cone going up to the
Oh, I
second
see.
stage, and then all of the 8 side pods tucked under it rather than the proton.
Yeah, I mean that could work too, but I think making those side pods mostly conical and shortening the center stage will mostly let me get away with it.
Okay.
Not convinced, but maybe. Man, that's a weird level of Z fighting. I have to. That's weird, yeah.
I think you'd end up with, I mean, an N1 style pyramid at that point, because it'd be very short.
All right, yeah. So we have some more payload capacity, which is good, because I'll probably need more of a tug than what I've got, what I've budgeted for. So yeah, I would call this launch vehicle a success.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I'll definitely be able to do EOR with it, and I will also definitely be able to do a single launch around lunar orbit mission.
Put you down pretty hard.
I mean, I wouldn't call the coast of 4 degrees hard.
I imagine it's going to go up.
I mean, it is, but even coast of like 8 degrees is still next to nothing.
Okay, true.
Yeah, this. I think like people tend to freak out about burning down, but
Yeah, it does just feel wrong to do it after you worked so hard to get up
yep,
there.
it feels super wrong, but yeah, coast of 8 degrees is over 0.99. So yeah, we lost about 1% of our delta. So we lost about 10 meters per second doing that. But we probably gained it back in lower gravity losses.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the fun. That's what's funny.
Okay, yep, looks successful.
Yeah.
Can I call it a wrap here?
Yeah, I think so. It's getting late.
Don't forget to rotvab and fix that flag before.
Yes.
Otherwise, we'll be seeing it next time.
Yes. There.
Little flag visibility.
Yep.
Yeah.
There. Problem solved.
Cool.
The last thing I want to check before I log off is what kind of TLI payload? What kind of TLI can we actually do with the payload that we have? Given that 200 meters per second, I'm gonna take 100, which will probably even out. That still has plenty of margin. So yeah, that's like 100 meters per second margin. All right, so let's kill this. So we're at 44.8 tons. That's quite a lot. Now, what kind of TLI can we do on this? Turns out the answer is, and I forgot this, that I actually was about right. So we can use up, we can burn a little bit of this by expanding this some. So call it, we'll use up like about 200 meters per second. And we can send almost 15 tons to the moon. Which, yeah, we're definitely paying some for EOR. And the reason we're paying some for that is that since we're doing LOR at the moon for lunar landing, we're already budgeting in the fact that we have to dock there. So if we sent this in 2 packets to the moon in LOR, we wouldn't have to duplicate all the docking stuff. But yeah, so we can for sure send a Zond and some stuff out to the moon. So cool. All right, I'm gonna call it there. Thanks for coming by.
Yep, thanks for having me.
Good.
Head to bed. Good night.
Hey, thank you everyone who was watching as well. I will catch you next time. Night.